Hi everyone, I'm going to tell you about how to take care of your hermit crabs and keep them alive for a good long time. Two of the hermit crabs we have been alive here in this aquarium for over a year, and one of them we just got on Sunday. So you're starting with three, and three is probably a good amount for this size of aquarium. The most important thing to keep hermit crabs alive and healthy is the humidity level. And a lot of people don't know that, and they bring home hermit crabs from winning them as a prize or getting them at the pet store, and they don't know how important it is to maintain humidity in their environment, and they die. It's actually a really simple thing. So the first thing you need to learn about hermit crabs is that the humidity level is the most important thing. So what you do is you take a spray bottle like this, and you just take this towel off of the top of the aquarium, and it has a mesh top. The mesh top by itself would not keep the humidity trapped in the aquarium. That's why it has a damp towel over it. So you just spray about 2 squirts on each wall with your spray bottle, taking care not to be spraying their food. The food is in this green leaf-shaped dish right here in the front left. Then you put the mesh screen over the top. And in order to capture that humidity, you take a towel and you go to the sink and you get it wet and you squeeze out all the water so that it's damp, so you're not dripping across the floor. And you just lay your towel back on the top of the aquarium. And there's a gauge inside the aquarium. It's in the back. Do you see that circle in the back on the back wall? You're going to look at that every other day, I'd say, and make sure that the humidity level is at about 65% or higher. And when you're finding that it's getting down to 65 or lower, that's when you're going to be doing this routine over again, where you're going to spray it and then you're going to put the damp towel on top. And I found that when this towel is dry, when it's not damp anymore, is usually about the time, it's every couple days, it's usually about the time that you need to do that routine again. So that's the most important thing about your hermit crabs. Okay, so next, there's 2 water dishes inside the aquarium. You'll see the blue one. The blue one is for their fresh water. It's not fresh water out of the tap, though. It's fresh water that's been made from this conditioner where they've taken the chlorine out of it. Takes the chlorine out of your tap water. So you mix up a bottle full, and you just make sure that there's water in the blue dish every day, and maybe once a week, empty the dish, rinse it out. There's a sponge in it. There's a sponge in both dishes. And that just allows hermit crabs to have something to step on so that they won't ever submerge themselves in the water. The red dish, and you'll see it's the salt water, and you see how I colored the top? It says salt and it's got red. The blue one says fresh and it's got blue. It matches the color of the dish. So the salt water is made from this saltwater conditioning kit. It's very simple. And you just make it in the bottle, and that's how you're going to be making your salt water for the red dish. So you want to make sure that those dishes have water in them, the right type, every day. And what you'll find is that the hermit crabs kind of bathe themselves in the salt water. You know, they're from that type of environment by nature, so they want the salt. They need the salt. But the water that they drink is actually the fresh water that's in the blue dish. So as far as what you feed hermit crabs, that's what's in the little leafy shaped dish. So we have 2 different kinds of food. We have they're the same type. It's hermit crab cakes, but the one on the left is like a meal, so it's been ground for the ones that have a harder time chewing on the hard pellets. And then the one on the right, the little one, is the hermit crab cakes. So what I do is I usually have a combination of both. Maybe I have 3 of the hard cakes, this one on the right, in the dish, along with just a little bit of the powder. Hermit crabs don't eat very much, and so you don't want to be wasting all this food. So just you put in a little bit. But what they can eat in addition to that is people food. So they are scavengers by nature. They're going to eat almost anything. But you want to make sure you don't give them anything sugary or anything seasoned. You can give them a piece of fresh vegetable or fruit, a little bit of meat from like a sandwich, but not with mayonnaise on it or not anything that has any kind of seasoning. So if somebody had, let's say, a bologna sandwich, if there was a little bit, they wanted a little piece, and Mrs. Lavoie was okay with you putting a little bit in, that would be something the hermit crabs would probably like. So that takes care so far of you learning about the humidity level being at 65% or higher, the 2 different types of water, fresh and salt, when to feed and what type of food to feed your hermit crabs in the little leafy dish. And then you need to know about temperature. There is a temperature gauge on the front left. It tells you what the temperature is inside the tank. You want to maintain a temperature of about 72 to 82 degrees. In the colder months, what you'll do is you'll plug in their heater. It's just this cord right here. You plug it in, there's no dials or anything, and in the front right-hand corner of the aquarium, there's a heating pad. That's what that cord is for. And so in the winter, you might find if the classroom is cold that you might see the hermit crabs have gathered over there in that corner where the warmth is. So when you're getting back to when you're spraying for humidity, try to avoid spraying their food. And you want to keep an eye on their food. If you see it starting to get moldy, you need to change it. Otherwise, I would say you change out their food dish about every 4 days. What you do is you take a tissue, like a Kleenex or two, and you just go over to the trash can and you're just going to wipe what's in it into the trash. Wipe it out a little bit. You're not washing it. You're just wiping it, trying to get the food out of the crevices if there's any there. And then you're just giving them more food. So let's see. That's humidity, temperature, water, food. Okay. Now we're going to talk about what they need inside their aquarium. Hermit crabs like to climb, and they like to have a variety of things to do in their environment. So you'll see the ramp in the back. That gives them something to climb. And often one of our hermit crabs, Chickabomb, let me see where he is. He is often up at the top of the ramp. He's not right now. But he's usually the one you'll see up there, and then he might even climb into that plastic plant. They need to have a place to hide also. So their favorite is that Crabworks Hotel in the back right corner. You'll usually see a hermit crab in there. And then we've added this new little woody kind of loggish sort of hiding place underneath the ramp. And I'm noticing already that they're drawn to that. That's where one of them, Chickabomb, is right now. The other two at the moment, they're in matching shells. They're in the front left behind that plant. Hermit crabs by nature do like to live together. So now we need to talk about molting. Molting is a time when a hermit crab goes underneath the sand for 2 weeks or more. What they do at that time is they shed their exoskeleton. You know how crabs are hard on the outside? Well, hermit crabs are also hard on the outside. All their limbs are hard. They go underneath and they actually shed that. And then they grow a new one. They do even eat part of the exoskeleton that they shed under the sand because it gives them some nutrients they need in order to build a new strong outer shell, a new exoskeleton. Well, in general, you know, if you have 2 hermit crabs in your aquarium and one goes down to molt, that other one is going to be left alone. And they like to live in colonies, so it's good to have 3 in your aquarium at a time so that each one has company when another one has molted. They only molt every few months, though, by the way. So in general, they're under for a few weeks, and then when they come out, they go into another shell. And you have to always have shells that are just a little bit bigger with a little bit bigger opening in their aquarium for them to change into. And it's really funny. We've had Chickabomb. He's the one in the decorated shell that you've all seen by now already, I'm sure. Chickabomb, we've had him over a year. He's molted twice, but he's never changed his shell. Well, on Sunday, when we got Fred is the one in the front right now in this video. Fred, immediately when we brought him home, started changing shells, because sometimes they'll change shells even when they haven't molted. He went out of his shell into another shell, got out of that one and went into another one, and then that's the one where he stayed. Well, it was like Chickabomb was seeing that for the first time. We were surprised. I guess he didn't know what to do before that, because all of a sudden he started trying to find a new shell, but he did not succeed. He's still in his same shell. I'm a little concerned that he's stuck in his shell, but if he's not, then what it is just that he's exploring the idea of trying a new shell. It's like getting a new house, and he's just not quite ready. Now this other one, which is called Spot Stripe, he is over in the left. They're in identical shells, but Spot Stripe, his is a little bit cracked along the edge. That's the only difference I can see. We've had him over a year also. He has not changed shells either, and he's only molted once. He just came out of a molt, and it doesn't seem like he's completely done, but I think he's going to be perfectly fine. Okay, in terms of taking care of the aquarium, I would suggest every 3 or 4 months that you take everything out of the aquarium and dump the sand. There is a little sifter that you have that can remove poop if you see it on the surface of the sand, but it's hard to find. So I found that that if I just every 3 or 4 months, if I just take everything out, dump that sand, put in new sand, and start fresh, everything's fine. It's just play sand. I get it at Ace Hardware. It's like $5 for this huge bag that actually will last you through 2 or more aquarium changes. But you want to get play sand, and you don't want to get colored sand. You don't want sand that's been outdoors in anybody's sandbox, because it's just going to introduce different little bugs and germs that it's not good for their environment. One of the most important things for you to know, and it's the final thing that I have to say, is that after you've handled these hermit crabs, you must wash your hands. Hermit crabs do have germs that aren't good for humans. So if you've handled them, you must go wash your hands with soap and water. And as for one more thing, as for handling them, you can take them out of the aquarium. You can let them walk in a contained space, like perhaps a lid from a big cardboard box. Maybe you want to put like a damp towel or something on it so their claws aren't slipping around on the inside of the lid. But I wouldn't keep them out longer than about 10 to 15 minutes, because they're out of their humid environment and they need to go back in. So if you have any questions, if you see me around school, feel free to ask. And Kayla knows almost as much as her mom does about hermit crabs. We got this for her over a year ago, and it's been a really neat and fun learning experience. So she might have the answers to your questions too. Have fun, everybody. Bye.